All right. Welcome. Mind y'all, I'm in an area and space where, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of people here just, once you get something lit, people want to come and mess up your little flow. So I apologize for any background noise, any, stuff like that. So, as soon as I start, they sit right next to the door that I'm working in and run their mouth. So I apologize up front. Back to what I was saying. We got like I was saying in my first two shows, I'm gonna be doing a lot of work in the community. I'm gonna be definitely chiming in on a lot of information as far as getting this stuff done for my daughter and my niece and nephew. My nieces and nephew, I got a lot of them, so hopefully I get stuff really going. Hopefully, I get the resources to do what I need to do. I know it's a little bit late, but I'm actually excited because I'm going to go to I'm going to be coaching at the recreation over here, the basketball team for the kids. So, and I'm gonna sign my nephew up and stuff like that. So I'm hyped about that, and I'm just happy to get back into the flow of coaching. Hopefully I still want to coach high school or get it to a prep school or something like that, something big. But just to get the coaching juices back, I'm glad I'm gonna be able to get back into it. I was just speaking on that as well. Um the board meetings I was telling you, like the one that I'm going to, I'm mentioning it all the time, to June 10th, down in Broward. I'm gonna go to the meeting for Policy 1000. I had an issue last year, so I'm gonna speak on it all the time. I have not watched no updates and news, and it's a lot going on. We did a little ceremony, some old voodoo hoodoo ritual, and the president come up there praying with all these fake sellouts in the world of the religious world, because like it's so many people that don't get noticed for real spiritual abilities, and I didn't like that little setup. And just be mindful of how don't get sucked up into like the fake, the people who are genuinely that care about people's abilities and people's internal resources and energy that is very sacred. You don't go playing around in that kind of type of energy. So, hopefully they really be mindful of what they're doing, because it's not a one day thing; it's an everyday thing. So we can't be playing around like that. I haven't been paying attention too much of what he's been saying, or all these people. A lot of the people don't understand that the people who do the most work in the far as making the rules are the people that are appointed, like the people that are appointed in the state. So you got to start in the states to get everything, fall. Right now, I've been born and raised. I've been in Florida my whole life. So, and I probably visit a couple states, but far as like, what it is about, you got to focus on the state, and then city, then towns, and then, you go into schools, and you divvy out what needs to be done from there. Um, that's the most important. So whoever y'all voted in, as far as mayor, as far as city council people, or who you got as your principals over your schools, and who's helping in the community centers, and make sure you're paying attention to that. Um, I did, I'm putting it out there. I just make sure when I was at that meeting out there in Broward, I told them I need the list of the people that are over those programs, and trustees and board members and all that. They have to make these people known, so that we could get information on them and see if they're actually doing the job. So I'm reiterating what I already spoke on. I think this stuff is very important, but this show is going to be very light on political. I'm not going into details on anything. I don't have no real quarrels with anybody. Just make sure you understand. Quick before I get off that, I just want to tell you how important family really is. I went to visit my mom yesterday, and my nephew was like, he was like, I could tell he wasn't himself. And I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he was like, I was like, mind them, they not, he only 9. So I'm sitting here like, "What's wrong with you? How you doing?" He's like, "Nothing, nothing." And then I finally got on a break. I was like, "You sure? You all right?" He said, and the first thing I said to him, I said, "What, your girlfriend broke up with you?" Mind you, he's 9 years old. He said, "Like, yeah, kinda." And I was like, "Was she like somebody else?" She said, I don't know." And I was laughing. I was like, "Well, it's part of life, because I'm the type of person, like, I look at it like this. I don't speak to them about it, but I'm not afraid to tell how my personal life in the realm of like dating, or you know how it went. Like, I learned from every situation, so I don't I don't mind like the men or the female who have multiple, like a list of people on their trail, and they call. I'm not that type of person. I don't have my energy is not to be. I need 5 girlfriends and 10 girlfriends, and this. My mom told me don't have multiple households. So the older I got, the less I felt like I needed to go out there and try to have multiple, partners going on at the same time. That's not the energy I even have inside me to even want to do that. So I was talking to him. I'm gonna continue what I was gonna say, but I was talking to him. I was like, just focus on, being, just being like, y'all exchange numbers, talk. You don't have to, it's not the all be all. Then he started laughing, so I was like, oh, he kind of understand what I was coming from. But back to what I was trying to say, from me personally, when it comes to relationship, I can't really give a lot of relationships because I haven't been in a lot of them, but I don't want to be in a lot of them. So I try to be mindful. I'm older now. I have a lot, like, more like seeing of what it is. Like, I was raised around, I was raised around men and women, but my mom raised me mostly, and I got a lot of good advice from some strong men in this world. So I take everything from what it is, and I know just me preserving myself and me being like overseeing my life in a bigger way. I didn't sell myself short. I'm gonna end up getting somebody that I really want, because it's so many more, it's so much out there I haven't seen, so much I haven't experienced. I'm not stressing a lot of stuff that people stress. I don't have the, I don't have the, I have a child, but that's one, I wouldn't even call it a problem. It's not a situation where I feel like she's a problem. I don't have a problem with the person I had a child with. I don't. She her own person. I'm my own person. So and my child is strong, and she's gonna be great in this world. And that's how I look at it. When it comes down to being a real, like, when it comes to being a real example of like a family, I feel like it's hard, especially in the state I am. The state of Florida doesn't allow a lot of black and brown people like real opportunities to be, high level. Far as it's very hard to break through in this state, and I probably might end up leaving, but because I'm a coach and they don't pay well in the county or anything like that, and there's still people in the county and the school board that are very prejudiced towards people like me, that are outspoken, that are not a robot, that are not yes sir in them, and not combining by their stupid rules and weirdo rules, and all the little back channels that they do and how they doing it in the school. It's getting exposed more and more every day. But that's why I'm gonna be over in the meetings, and I'm gonna be over speaking, and I'm gonna be doing what God put me on earth to do. So with that being said, that's my 10-minute spiel on political and anything, community, anything like serious. Like I said, watch your kids. Make sure you breathe life into them, and you uplift them, because that's what I always will gear always will want you want. That's what I'll be doing. I don't want nobody in my family be down. I want to be the light and have life into that situation in your family circle. We're gonna go, that's pretty much it. And I gotta get a little bit more research on all this stuff going on. We had the first 100 days, and I spoke on the little prayer ceremony and all that. So, we're gonna get to that in the this week coming up. But I have a little fun. Like I said, I mentioned I'm gonna be coaching I gotta fill out all this information, get the background check going. And today I'm gonna go in depth on the NFC and AFC draft. I'm gonna just review it and give you my grade on what I think, how I think, give a couple key players that they drafted and stuff like that. And then I'm gonna give you the update on the NBA playoffs. We got a game 7 tonight, the Clippers versus the Denver. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit and go from there. To begin with, all right, being a winner and having the winner mentality. This is basically why I'm talking about it. I'm just gonna. That's why this title of this show is how to be a winner. Like, what I'm saying, like how like. So we're gonna talk about the draft. I thought we're gonna start with NFC South. I think, mind y'all, I could speak a lot about sports and stuff, so it's kind of funny. But the NFC South, we're gonna start with the NFC South. The Saints, their first pick was Calvin Banks. Some of these people names are kind of hard. Y'all be mindful of that. Like, don't roast me. And I'm not being disrespectful. I know how it is when you got respect on your last name and your first name, and your family might listen and you might catch it years later. I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know y'all personally, but I try to keep, when it comes to, I talk to my players. Once I get to know you, I'll say your name correct every time. And if I don't know the player on the other side of the team, I just call them by the number. And that's how the sports world, that's how the soldiers world is, and all that stuff like that. It's a number. It's not really a name. So, you stick out from what you do, not what's on the back of your name. So we just speaking on some real winner and some real games, some real player type stuff coming up. But what I'm going to be talking about. So we just giving a breakdown of what I see on film, what I think, the organizations, what they headed towards. Just a quick little spew on it. And like I said, the Saints, they picked Calvin Banks with the 9th overall. I felt watching the highlights I watched on him, he had great size. I think, to me, he was not the best available tackle. I think he was the first pick, but he wasn't the best. He probably got picked because he was solid in the locker room. And, some of that stuff count when you get these big guys. Can he adjust in game? Is he good on the board? The terminology, terminology and all this and that, how well trained he's already in. Some of these people, like the Saints, they could have easily have won 5 more games based off, how their games was, but they ended up losing those 5 games and ended up picking in the top part of the draft. And then, so they like, this guy could come in and change our whole, trajectory of our organization, because you always need good O-line and D-line help. So I look at it like, he could be the missing piece for them to, raise their status of their, what they, from being a top 10 getting picked and then being in the playoffs. And the NFC South was wide open last year. And I'm heavy South, NFC South and AFC South, because I've been a Bucks fan my whole life, and I'm not really in a fan mode right now. I'm really in the analyst mode, but I've been a Bucks fan my whole life, and I like what the Falcons do. I'm southbound, I'm South heavy. Jacksonville on the AFC South. I always respected what the Colts did. Tony Dungy was at the Bucks, so I did support them when they was winning, and the Panthers and all that with Julius Peppers and all that. I remember the championships and all. Just watching it. From my standpoint. I'm Detroit Vikings. They used to be in the South too, so all that good stuff. Well, the Bucks was in the Central, so I respect those teams as well. All that good stuff. But that's another day. We're gonna talk a lot of football, but when it comes down to it, I let me see what I had wrote down. That was better. I think it was better tackles available. They got picked later in the first round, like I was saying. Then they went back into the first round and picked the quarterback from Louisville, Tyler Schlaw. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Sorry if I butchered your last name, buddy. I didn't think he was better than. I didn't like I didn't like the disrespect, but Shador he got picked fifth. I thought he was the second best quarterback. He could easily been, you know how the league is. I just how you see how they did, Bernie last year. He got picked in the second round. Easily could have got picked in the first round. It's not that many picks in the NBA, so I understood what it was. But at least he got picked. I just think they want to like kind of put some kind of authority over these generational lifetime players, I guess you want to call it. Who's better than Deion Sanders that ever played cornerback, play baseball, go out there and coach, been in the limelight since 85, 82, 80, whatever number he was at Florida State, making rap songs and talked about for, I don't know how when, 40, 30 years now. I don't know what they want him to do. He's been on talk show radio and he's been doing it all. He's been in the NFL network. He done so much for the league. I don't know why they disrespect him that bad, but you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Both his sons ended up on the teams, and I want to get off track from the Saints, but I kind of, I don't want to look. I don't want no problems with the league. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was crazy. Out of respect, he should have got picked in the top two because he definitely wasn't bad at college at all. Like, that guy should have got picked in the first round. Whoever that guy was, his dad paid a lot of money. But you know how it goes, man. I know how I've been around a little minute, man. I've been coaching since I was 18, so I've been around a little minute. Yeah, I think he was just, he didn't even win his battles in college. I think he was battling out to the very end for the position. I didn't see him be that great. He got the best throw I see him do is the deep out when he's on the other side of the hash and, he makes that throw. That was the first thing they showed in his highlights. That's the first thing I remember. I remember before watching the highlights, he made that throw consistently. But, that's one throw. Then you got to throw the ball downfield. Then you got to throw the dig route on time. Then you got to throw a corner route when it's time to make plays in the championship in the goal line. And I don't even see all that. So I seen Shador make those throws, and I don't know what they got going on. So I ain't finna go too in depth with it. But yeah, good luck to you. You must be the quarterback of the future, I guess. And that's pretty much it for the Saints. I liked that the running back Devin Neal from Kansas. That guy was a dark horse sleeper for to contribute a lot. I think he'd be a good compliment to Alvin Kamara. I wouldn't call him on his down years. I guess he's very similar to how he played. I don't think he's better than him. I think Alvin Kamara, if y'all check my tape, or you know somebody that know me that was speaking on that, I picked Alvin Kamara to be a very highly. He was very high. He got drafted, I think 4th or 6th round, something like that. And I thought he didn't have the opportunity. I think he went to Alabama, but when I seen him play in Tennessee, I was like, this guy is that good. So I was always on him. I'm very good at spotting those type of players like that get overlooked. So hopefully that guy, he seemed like he's going to be a very, just from film, the O-line block well in that zone blocking scheme. And, the down block, the power over, all that, everybody run that little basic down over pull. It's going to happen for him. Hopefully he get his chance in the league and he to be successful. So good luck to you, buddy, from Kansas, Devin Neal. I said Kevin, I was talking about Kansas. But yeah. To the next team in the NFC South, we're going to go to Falcons. I actually appreciate it. I think they building their team very good. Last year they did a lot in the draft. They got their quarterback of the future. I think they did a good job of knowing that they in the NFC South and they got to go tackle these quarterbacks. And they drafted 2 outside linebacker, defense end type of players. I really think it was solid pick. I think it was Jalen Walker and James Perks. I don't want to say his name incorrect. Sorry if I said your last name. No disrespect to you. Walker to me was more of the complete the complete player. I think he's going to be a solid 5 tech in the odd front. He could also play the non-tech, just playing that run and that run defense, and he could be on the field all 3 downs. Just being that solid, player. He lacks a little bit of the speed and get off moves. I think he could improve on all those things, but overall, he's still pretty solid in the run game, which is super important when you get to the playoffs. You got to be able to stop the run, and I think they did have issues down the stretch. That's why they lost a couple of key games, so they didn't make the playoffs. Now, when it comes to James Pierce, I want to say James Pierce. He to me was way more like a little bit more explosive, a little bit undersized at the DN, but he could develop into a great outside linebacker if they go odd front. I think he had the ability because he had his hand in the dirt on the just from the highlights I've seen. So I don't think that was an issue. I just think your body could wear and tear over time, and hopefully he keeps his speed when he goes and add a little bit more weight. Probably 10, 15 pounds would be good for him because he's still going to be able to play outside and have his quickness and speed and fast twitch. And I'm big on him, so hopefully he really develops. And as far as just dropping it, I just got to see more of him dropping into coverage. That's pretty much it. What I wrote down for him. When it comes to they did a good job. They only had 5 picks, and in the third round they picked the safety Xavier Watts. I think that was a steal at third. They could have he probably lacked the speed, but he has everything as far as being a complete, as far as in coverage and just reading, just being a student of the game. He a little bit undersized. That's all I could say. But he got ball skills, and he know where he's supposed to be doing. And he got picked in the third round. Probably was a second round grade, and I think that was a steal. If just what they had, I would give them a B plus overall. Just because they picked smart. The defensive linemen that they picked were definitely graded in very highly. Is first rounders, and potential wise, the second guy got superstar potential to me, just to what I seen. Just that fast, that explosiveness off the ball and making impact plays at any given moment that he's on the field. And same with your the defensive back. And Notre Dame been as becoming a defensive factory. Just the consistency and the players that they've been having, they've been very high level. Sorry for the noise in the back. Where I'm at is they got a lot of stuff going on today, I guess. So sorry about that. But yeah, like I was saying, all these guys could end up being 3 starters. If you get 3 starters in the draft, that's a B plus to A range type of grade. So I'm gonna give them a B plus. You got to see how it pans out. So yeah, that's it for the Falcons. For the Panthers, the first round pick was Titoria. Like I said, these guys, I watch a lot of football, and I look at I put the dummies on mute when they out there trying to talk football and be out there cheerleading at the same time. I put them on mute. So some of y'all names I don't even know. I haven't watched a lot of this game. That I did get to see the tape, and the tape I seen, he was the best wide receiver in the draft. And but you got, like I said, this is like, he played at Arizona, the Pac-12, whatever they calling it now, Pac-12, and it's like a lot of the times that league is not known for the defensive players and the defensive backs. Minus like they had Travis Hunter out there this year, but it wasn't a ton. He got to play against them. He did his thing overall. To me, he's a prototypical number 1 wide receiver. That's what he's giving me on film. All I could say, he got to prove it. He's going to be in a tough division with the defensive backs he's going to see every week in and week out. You're going to have to see like six games in the division where he's going to play against tough defensive backs. And I think just, it was a great ad. Gives Bryce Young a number 1 target. and it was gonna help him in development. I think they didn't have a lot of people. People got hurt in the beginning of the year. It made him look like he wasn't developing properly. But when people started coming back, they made a trade in the end of the year. Just little stuff. Running backs got healthy. He looked it better at the end of the year. So him adding on to this type of player, I think it's gonna help him overall. Also, they also drafted Trevor Etienne, I think, from Georgia, the running back from Georgia. And I'm just naming a couple key guys. I think, to me, he showed a very, like, the ability to just have that breakaway speed and quickness, and he catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a little bit undersized, so that's my biggest concern. But I think what's going to help him is his brother's already in the league. He experienced similar things. They're similarly built, and he's been hurt. His brother been hurt a few times, and I think just him knowing how to train his body to not get hit and train his body to withstand the hits that he's going to take as a NFL running back is going to help him. And then last but not least, they also drafted Jimmy Horn, and he's the Colorado. When he was at USF, he did a great job. He was a 1,000-yard receiver, kick returns, punt returns. He could do it all. He got picked in the 6th round. I just think, he's a true Z. Come in motion. He's gonna be a problem for safeties in the league. I think he's been training. Probably some of the top players for a long time in the league. Just like, I think, him. He's from the South, and I think he, how, like, everything travels, and they made a big deal about his dad being in prison or whatever. They got drafted in the 6th round. He probably had a 3rd or 2nd round grade. And I think that was a steal. I think them getting considered the best wide receiver in the league. In the draft, I think that he's going to be helping. He's going to be helping on the 3rd down at that Z position. And if they go 4 wides, he could play the F. And it's going to be very explosive for Bryce Young. I just think hopefully he get his offensive line on point, on track. They did draft. They had enough picks to draft both sides. And I think the Panthers are heading into the right direction. I was a little bit wary of what they was gonna pick, but I'm not gonna disrespect. I know they got a new head coach last year. They GM switch a lot over the last 10 years. About 2 or 3 of them already. Might have been more. But yeah, for sure. I give them an A grade. I think they did a pretty good job. I think they did a good job of adding on, helping their quarterback. I think they did a good job of adding depth on their defense that they needed. They didn't do a bad job at all. So, hopefully the guys pan out and my grade sticks. And that's pretty much it for the Panthers. Now, going to I'm not being biased. I'm trying not to be long-winded with them, but I'm going to the Bucs. I'm not gonna say too much. I actually, their 1st round pick, they picked in I don't want to see his name. The wide receiver from Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka. Sorry if I butchered your name, but I'm trying my best. I think for him, I think he had great hands. Just a well-rounded player. I know that Marvin Harrison Jr. He's mentioned him and said he wanted him to play. I seen that somebody said that before the draft, but he ended up getting picked by the Bucs. And I think that kind of vouch is good, and I think he's gonna bring leadership. I like what he do when he get the ball in his hands, when he get in open space. He knows how to finish. At the contact, and just kick, touch, and screens, all type of he could play anywhere on the field. He could play he could play X, he could play Z. So he could play 1 and 2, and if they go spread, it could be the F or the Z. He's good in all those rounds. He's probably more, Godwin got hurt. I think that's why they drafted him. He got hurt seriously 2 times already, and that type of wear and tear, you're gonna have to get somebody in that can replace that type of production. And I think we did a good job. I'm talking about we. I think the Bucs did a good job of picking a person that could come in and help, because we probably won't have Godwin. Godwin probably won't be healthy until like 8th week or something, because the type of injury he had, and he coming off 2 years ago he had the same similar type of injury. And that's pretty much it for him. The sleeper and the dark horse pick to me was in the 7th round when they got Tez Johnson out of Oregon. It's very rare that somebody that possessed that type of speed is don't get that they got drafted that late. The only thing with him, he gotta probably work on his route running when you get in these more, what do you call them, like the type of system, you got to get the terminology down pat. A lot of stuff happens when you get in these meetings and you can't go on the board and you can't describe what is what and what is not. Now, I don't like that these coaches come in with these analytical and try to be. It's really not that hard. It's like you running a post, you running a fly, you running a dig, you running a comeback, you running a curl. Like, you gotta talk to them, because your terminology was not the same terminology as theirs. And when you talk about, they only learned a position, they didn't learn the whole playbook, and that's what really has to be known when you get him. But they use that against high level players, and I don't like that. And I've been in the coach's office long enough to know that people try to weed you out because of that. And that's not even the most all be all, because the most important person that needs to know the whole playbook is the offensive center, because he got to make plays, he got to make adjustments when it comes to blitzing and protection, and the quarterback. Then it goes with the wide receivers, and the running back actually even more, because they're part of protection a lot of the times with chip blocking and assignments, and you got to step up in the pocket or you got to go on the edge, depending on how versatile, for like when you teaching protection packages in practice, if you more like, it's like sometimes it's an option and sometimes it's like step right, step left. So all that stuff is important. Hopefully, like I said, I was a steal. I think like with the type of ability he possesses, hopefully he could get right with the playbook and get on board. That's why I tell young. That's the message for young players: is make sure you actually studying the game. Make sure you're not just coming in there, oh, I'm the best player ever since sliced bread, and just think it's gonna happen for you. A lot of people know how this goes. It's a business, and when they want somebody else over you, any little thing could make them pick that person over you. So you got to be mindful of that. And then lastly, not least, the Tampa Bay Bucks. This might be. I'm a shot. I seen Shiloh Sanders play in college, so I think he should definitely been drafted. But unfortunately, he did not get drafted. But he signed with the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I think that's a steal in itself. He's coming back to Florida. I know his dad's Florida ties, and probably his mom definitely in the South. I don't know if she's down for Florida, but that is great that he's gonna be coming back this way, and I'm excited. I like the fact that he's going to my team. I think it's gonna help the defensive backfield. I think we had a couple injuries down the stretch that didn't allow us to really stop people at the end of those games. And we had lack of depth last year, and hopefully he comes on and make the team. If I was over any kind of GM or ownership, I know what type of energy that they're gonna bring. I feel like like I was speaking on earlier, he got targeted a lot for just getting out of the game. The way he played very old school. He come down. He don't really put his head down. It's so ticky tack where they kick these players out of the game, and he like the corner of his helmet hit the side of his other hit, like little petty stuff he was getting kicked out the games for. And if you watched I saw, it was happening to him in Jackson State and it was happening to him in Colorado. So he didn't get enough film. And a lot of that stuff was happening in key moments, key games, all kind of craziness. I don't even want to talk about it. But hopefully he come in, like I said, just having the father you have, hopefully they respect you a little bit more on a professional level and what he already had done for the league. hopefully he gets a real opportunity in training camp to go out there and be successful. We already got an all pro safety. So hopefully, it ain't gonna be easy for him to get on the field, but it is gonna be some dime and nickel positions packages where he can come in and definitely contribute early if he gets the playbook and these blitz packages. I think early stuff can go hand in hand for him to be successful. And I'm big. I want to see. I'm big on seeing him be successful. Hopefully he comes in and do that. So yeah, just come in with the right mindset. Don't come in with the you start from ground zero. Just come in, have that sight to just be like, I'm coming in from ground zero. I have to earn my keep, and that's all I can say about that. And that's it for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I didn't mention every player all these teams drafted, but I try to mention key players that I think are going to be successful. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna try to keep it a little. I'm trying to, like I always try to finish in 40 minutes or less, or try not to keep, because I know everybody got a short, what do you call it? A short what do they call it now? Attention span now. A lot of people don't like to sit and wait. I'm getting like that too with music and movies. Like if it's like a 10-minute part in the movie where I'm like, this junk is like, next movie, find something old that's funny and good the whole time. Not no wait 30 minutes until the movie get good. So, but yeah. If y'all know me, I was a little bit of a bar. No, but for real, AFC South, we're gonna move on. Houston, I like what they did, Houston. Oh, my bad. I think I gave the Bucks a B plus. If y'all can get that B plus, A minus. I gave the Panthers an A. I'm probably being a little generous. I was being a little biased, so my bad. But with the AFC South, I'm gonna say you can never have enough protection, and they didn't have no first round picks, so in the second round they picked the tackle Ariante Urseri from Minnesota. And I don't know if I said your name right, but hopefully you don't get mad if I did say it wrong. And like I said, I watch a lot of football, but it's a lot of college teams. Don't get mad. I only watch my favorite, what I call my favorite college team anymore. I try to space it out and watch key games and try to watch key players over the whole year. So don't get mad. Minnesota had a great offensive line last year, so they whole offensive line, I respect it. And that's pretty much it. I didn't see, to me, for him, you have to invest in protecting, your star player, and the way their quarterback his career has been on the up and up since he got there. He ended in college on a high level. He's started NFL on a high level. He's steady grinding. I like the coach over there. They like the program that they're building in Houston. I think they have the potential to win a championship because they've been so close the last few years. Building first, it was like wild card championship, conference championship. And then now it's building, but they still had to go through Lamar, and they got other people in that conference that's tough. And Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, everybody like Allen and all the guys, but he's Stroud is there, and he's a tough guy. He's young. He got the same potential as those other guys, and I'm all for it. Like I was saying, he protect the franchise. I like that pick. With the other second round pick, they had two of them. They picked Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State. I liked it. I watched it. He's, he got the nice height. He got the height, and could play X, and but he got to be able to run routes, get on top of those routes a little bit better. He does a good job. From what I've seen, it's just like giving himself a chance, but he got to just be a little bit more sharper and crisper when it comes to being in the league. That's how you separate yourself from being good to great. and he just got to fine tune what he already good at, and just be a little bit more explosive. Work on your lower body explosiveness, so you can have that fast switch to be a little bit better. And that's pretty much it. I think overall they gave him some more weapons. He got a couple, I think a running back and a wide receiver. And just from just me off the top, I'm trying to do some key. I think Stroud he's gonna have a very successful career. I think I give them a B overall. They didn't have a first round pick, so they didn't get the top echelon wide receiver or key tackles. I think they could have drafted. I think it was the Ohio State tackle and the Oregon tackle. They got picked at the end of the first round. I would have traded both of those two first round over that tackle, because the one from Oregon, to me, he's elite, and he have the potential, and what I seen, just his skill set to be all pro. And he was the best tackle on the board. Ohio State tackle was pretty. He could have been. It was interchangeable to me, because the competition level for Ohio State is a little bit more tougher probably, and Oregon guy, he was. I don't know why they fell. Both of them fell down in the draft, but that was just my opinion on it. Maybe the NFL world was like, let's make an example out of them too. I don't know what happened, but we're gonna move on. I think like the Houston's on the up and up for sure. So I'm big on that. I don't want to name drop. I just want them guys to build on what they got. Keep y'all a little hidden, and I'm big. I'm over here. Look, I've told you who my favorite team was back when I was younger, but I'm over here like Houston is like lit. So I can't say too much. Hopefully y'all have success and keep it going. For for the Colts, we're gonna go right into it. I actually thought the Colts did an excellent job. Their first pick was the Tyler Warren, the tight end for Penn State. I liked that he was the most complete tight end in my eyes. He showed the ability to block and catch the ball. That means he could stay on the field all three downs. That means you don't have any real keys when he's in the game, far as if he's gonna run or block, which is a big advantage. It's just very rare nowadays in the game. They think they have to. That is a key in itself. If you got to take your tight end on a block, on a pass, that shows what you're gonna do. So that's less film, like less concern. So if he's that guy that could be there all three downs, that means you can exploit these people on your one tight end, three wide receivers, or that's how they do it with running back, and that makes you more explosive because you can still run the ball, put them in motion, down block, pull your tackle the guard. Just a little old school game with your three wide set and all that good stuff. I look at it like that. They had a ton of picks, so I'm looking at it from that. I liked it. I like the fourth round pick, the tackle Jalen Travis, the offensive tackle from Iowa State. I think this was somebody who probably needed more reps, but on the film that they put out there, he showed the ability to pull from the tackle position. So that means he probably could play tackle and guard, which is probably what the coach wanted to display, that he didn't get enough reps, or how somebody get overlooked, and the coach is like, we gotta showcase our best player, and he did get the ability to showcase what he could do. So overall, I give them a B plus. They address what they need. They got a young quarterback in Richardson. So drafting the tackle, drafting a tight end, that's gonna help in protection. They already got a couple great running backs, which I think they still drafted a running back to add for depth. So Indianapolis Colts did a great job. I give them a B plus, A minus type grade. Hopefully they build on that. Their quarterback got to start stepping up, because the guy that was picked in front of him has already proven that he's worthy of this and be in this league. And that's pretty much a lot of the guys. The AFC South is gonna be only team that's not gonna be a surprise to me and probably gonna have success is Houston. But everybody else is like up in the air, and I just want to see what happens from their improvement, because everybody finished pretty Colts didn't have their first round pick, but Everybody else with the Titans and the Jaguars, they were the number 1 and number 2 team picked. So we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna go to Jacksonville Jaguars. Um, Everybody knew I picked Travis Hunter to be the number 1 pick player in the whole draft, so he got picked number 2, which is, I'm glad he got his just due. It's hard to get picked as he's not no tweener. He played so many stops, so they couldn't disrespect him at all. So I'm glad he was able to stay healthy enough to get there. Hopefully he knows every year he played, he got a little banged up, so he's gonna have to really be mindful of having do he want to have a long career and successful Hall of Fame type career, which I think he has the ability on both sides. I don't know what them people was talking about during the draft. If you watch him from high school to college on the wide receiver side, there was nobody guard him. I didn't. Every time he needed to play, he was topping. He was routing. He was whatever you could name it. He was doing it on wide receiver, and at defensive back is even. Once you know the game, you know that being the aggressor, meaning when you reacting, that means you're on the defensive side. So wide receiver, you already know the play. So if you dominating on wide receiver, you definitely you dominating on the defensive side, and on both sides, there's no holes in his game. So hopefully he continues that success, and I want him to be healthy, and I'm glad he came back to Florida. A lot of ties over here from Georgia and Florida for him. He gonna have a lot of fans, a lot of support. Everybody making, I know he's feeling the love, and just being back home already, just like that feeling when you remember when you're a little kid and you be like, dang man, I want to be this when I grow up. And then you come back and everybody's like waiting for him, and he already made it. Like he's in his 21, 22 years old. He's already like in that like dream world of superstardom, and I know he's very humble. Every time I see him speak, he's humble. He's accepting of his position in this world as being a leader and being an example to the youth. And hopefully he knows that it's more than football out there. So he takes advantage of properly in the proper way. Go in your communities. Make sure you touch base with your grandparents, your mother, and your little brothers. I see him doing this thing now, so I'm happy for that. And just keep up that grind, man. I'm proud of you because I'm from Florida as well, and I know I know how I go, and I see the success. I see you having a very prosperous career. You got a great mentor. You was trained by one of the best players ever to step on the field, and I know he's gonna still be in your future. So good luck to you. We're gonna continue to break down your team, what y'all did. I like that they did. They added a lot of DBs. They needed help on defensive back. They did a good job adding both. So for DBs, the one that I like, okay, I'm not gonna talk about every last one of them, but the fact that they finished at the bottom of the league in 2024, the dark horse that they drafted the safety Rayon Lane from Navy. I like what I seen on film. He was a little bit undersized, which and he got picked late. I think it was the 6th round or something like that. So he got picked in the 6th round. But to me, that's like how somebody get overlooked. He went to Navy. He's undersized, but the way he plays, I don't know if they spell Ryan him. I don't know if I said his name right, but I look like Rayon. And like I said, I put people on mute. I did not watch a lot of his games. I think I watched one Navy game, like a quarter of it. No disrespect. And they had a lot of key games in the beginning of the year. So no disrespect to y'all, because y'all, I watch other games that'd be more interesting to me. Not for you, but from what I've seen on the film, your tape that they put out. And I don't need to see much. It's just my opinion of it. So what I seen, you run a lane well. You're playing sound football as far as being in position to make a play, whether it's pass or run. And I like what I saw. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking for. Like when you get picked like that, and they probably overlook you. Hopefully you get the opportunity when you get in the training camp, when you get in those joint practices, when you get in those those games, like you be prepared. Got to continue to prepare like you was in college and make every opportunity. You got to make a play, and that's how you're gonna get on the team. That's how you're gonna be able to contribute. And I know Jacksonville better not be shy about picking nobody up because they did not do well at all on the defensive back. You better cut because the way I see it, like it don't matter. You gotta have the heart. You gotta have the mindset to be a winner, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning of this show. The winning mindset. Who's like that's what I'm talking about. Like so, I try to highlight these players. I try to highlight as winners and people who look like they want to go out there and do something. So, yeah, that's it for him. Hopefully, I did not pronounce your. I know your last name wasn't hard to pronounce, but hopefully, I did not mispronounce your first name. And yeah, I think they got another steal at linebacker. The linebacker Jalen McLeod from Auburn. Hopefully, I did not mispronounce your last name. From Auburn. I think he had the ability. No, what I seen on film, I think he had the ability to like put his hand in the dirt, and that he had a great first size. He a little undersized. Like this is what I be saying. When I watched it, it's like he should not got to the 6th round, like off his ability, but he's playing like outside linebacker. He when you don't get enough opportunity to drop in coverage and you got your hand in the dirt as a defensive end, but he continuously beat 300 plus pound left tackles. If he get more reps and the coaching staff put him in the outside linebacker, edge rusher, and he's standing up more, he's probably gonna be in the area of his natural position. He probably be a great inside linebacker if he how he might get labeled as a tweener, but his ability says high level. So hopefully he comes in and be a light. And like I said, same with the guy from your other draft me. Y'all go out there with the mindset y'all gonna go out there and have and win a position on the team and be a contributor like y'all was in y'all colleges. Y'all should be able, from what I've seen, y'all should. Those are my dark horses from Jacksonville draft class. And I like what Jacksonville did. I gave them an A+. They picked the best player in the draft. They gave him a lot of help. They put a lot of people come in free agents, they're gonna be worth something too. So we're gonna see how that plays out. I put Trevor Lawrence on the clock. You got to come out there and do something. You cannot start slow this year. You cannot make no excuses. If I was I'm not even being funny. Like I wanted Shedeur and Travis to play on the same team. I'm not even gonna be funny with you. I would have traded Trevor Lawrence to like New York, got the pick, and he still would have ended up getting. Y'all would have got one of them left tackles. I would have drafted Travis or whatever that was going on. That's how I was looking at it because I feel like you still worth something. I feel like you might want to be in a bigger scene or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. The fluctuation from your first 2 years, you haven't grown as much, and you kind of went down a little bit last year with the turnovers and stuff. So, I want to see you be successful. It's a Florida team. I gotta be I'm not being biased right now. I'm being analytical, but I'm still in the South, and I want us to have a lit sports atmosphere around here. I don't care what part of you're in, just want to celebrate wins and be on the winning side. So hopefully we get y'all back up to par and y'all be successful in Jacksonville. So yep. Now let's move on to the Tennessee Titans. This is gonna wrap it up for the day. Now, I forgot I gotta talk about the NBA. I gotta wrap this up. I don't want to keep it too long. The Titans. That's why I only could do 8 teams. What is the whole 2 divisions? I couldn't talk about it because it would took all day. And I try to be a little bit mindful, like give y'all a real, analysis. And I took a little bit of time out beforehand to do it. I ain't rush it today, so. But with the Titans, they selected Cam Ward. I thought he was the best quarterback. I believe it showed his ability to win. I think his ability to show that he could win in the late game situations. He won at Washington State and at Miami. So I didn't see like he loved Washington on a high note. He didn't leave, like that he left because he probably wanted to have more fun or something. You know what I'm saying? Be close to family. Like it could have been anything. And I think he showed like he never backed down from a challenge. He didn't leave his, I'm not dissing when I talk. Oh, he's already on the team, so but he got to still fight. So I'm gonna leave my thoughts to myself. To me, he showed the ability to win a late game situation. He was not afraid of the moment. He made everyone around him better all the time, like both teams he was on. You have to be selfless in that position of leadership, which is what you do, what you are as a quarterback. You're like another, that's pretty much it. I don't want to go too much like he did. He just, to me, he had the complete. He was more complete overall on and off, and just be more selfless. Not just have that mindset that you gotta make sacrifices to uplift your teammates. With the going through who they picked, another pick I felt that was high value. They got in the 4th round was the wide receiver Alec Aineman. I don't know how to say his name. The wide receiver Alec from Stanford. I'm sorry I couldn't pronounce your last name. I do not want to butcher it. But I like the way I see him on film. I think if he improved his route running, which I seen like, a lot of big, a lot of tall and like they got to get used to like the everyday route. So I used to tell my players some I ain't gonna give you all the stuff. Gonna get back on the field. So I'm gonna leave that to myself. But you gotta have a lot of reps to perfect routes. You can't halfway. And when you have natural ability your whole life, you don't get coached up. You don't get coached up properly. You don't understand about the reps you got to do in practice just to perfect being a technician at it. So make sure y'all have understanding of that. The higher up you go, the more reps you got to do to stay on the field in front of somebody with the same ability or even better. So just be a professional about how you go about perfecting your craft, and that's all I can see. Just clean up how you run your routes. And that's about it. I give the Titans a B+ grade. They picked some high level players from top to bottom with the picks that they had. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, I will be talking about, I don't know, I think I'm gonna do the AFC East and NFC East next week first. Hopefully I don't want to, I didn't even expect to take this long, but it's still, just to break that down, took me some minutes. But you got some good analytical stuff on the new players. And I didn't talk about everybody, but I tried to highlight some stuff. So football gonna be right around the corner when it comes to pre-football, preseason. We got the WNBA back. We still got the NBA playoffs. The WNBA already in their preseason games, and that's pretty much it for Game 7 tonight in the 4-5 matchup with the Nuggets versus the Clippers. It's Game 7. I don't know. I think the Clippers are going to win. It's just like that, like Jokic and Westbrook, and they got a good team. But some of them guys, they still pretty inconsistent. They'll have 9 points and they have 30 points. So I don't know what they're gonna get from the rest of them guys. But I know them two gonna come out and play. The keys to win, Kawhi played defense. He's been playing defense like he played when he first came in the league with the Spurs, and he's been dropping 30 points. And it's kind of hard when he's doing that type of stuff. You still got James Harden. He dropped 30, 25 to 30. Powell's pretty consistent on averaging 20, 25. You know what I'm saying? So them guys is tough. That's almost 75 points right there. They gotta get a good bench contribution. I think they probably gonna win if they come out of play like they've been playing and end up getting back into it and forcing the Game 7. But if, Jokic got to hold Jokic under 30 points, probably he get to that range where he hit 39, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, and stupid stuff like that. You might probably gonna lose, and he could do that anytime. So yeah, but I'm picking the Clippers, and I'm gonna go check the game. I start at 7:30 tonight. On Sunday, it's another game 7. The Rockets won last night, so they forced game 7. I really believe whoever makes the most 3-point shots, that's what it seemed like. But overall, I think Houston has a better team, better roster. I hate to say it, the Warriors are looking a little long in the tooth. Like, I ain't being dissing because Steph been actually playing pretty well. But Draymond, but them boys big. Like, you got a handful on that front court. And the wing player, you got to switch, and you got a lot to handle, man. Like, so if you come out with some youth thing and you come up pull it off, because it's only getting tougher for y'all. Like, LeBron already out, he already home, so it's just getting tougher and tougher for y'all. That the youth is here, and I've been speaking on it the last year or two. I've been talking about how the league already probably switched over to people like Jaylen Brown and boys out there in Celtics. They won last year, and got so many young players. You got the young bull out here in the Rockets. They get they team boost up back to number 2 in the West, and they still got to fight the old heads out here at the Warriors. So it's just a lot going on. Got the Timberwolves. They made it past the Lakers in 5 games. So it just. You never know what's gonna happen. I love them two out there, McDaniels and Edwards. It's tough out there. I like just watching the game. Not my favorite team or nothing, but it's a lot going on with the youth in the NBA. So the best man wins. Like, I know the Celtics, like, man, we just got here, like, but everybody coming for y'all next still. And I know the coach was the Houston coach. It was the former Celtics coach that he probably should have won 1 or 2 with them when he was over there. He got messed up on it with his cheating on his wife, and that was a big thing because his wife was famous already and she's superstar, and you know how that went. It just messed up his reputation for a little bit. And he had to get back right, so he bounced back pretty good, and that's how it went. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going okay. And then like if everything playing out, the conference will be the semifinals would be the Thunder versus Clippers, the Cavs versus Pacers, the Timberwolves versus the Rockets, and that's based off of my predictions, like who I think gonna win. And the Celtics versus the Knicks versus the Celtics. And I'm gonna give y'all more of my predictions on Tuesday. All these teams will be on played by then. I could do it. I might do a show Wednesday. I mean Monday. I might not, but I definitely gonna do one Tuesday. I should not have nothing planned or to be, that stop me from coming in to do a show. And like I said, this is Dynasty, the podcast show and show, whatever you want to call it. I've been doing it for a minute. I'm glad I'm not forcing it. I'm gonna let it build over time. And like I said, I should have it back on the Spotify and on all the little iCloud and all that stuff on for just having it on the podcast. Just so y'all could hear audio. And like I said, man, you see, I just got I like how a little setup here with the green screen and got a nice mic, and I'm just out here. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to give y'all like real analysis, and like I look at I be on TikTok. Some people be out there just ESPN, CBS, whoever y'all work for. I ain't this y'all because a lot of the people I respect, especially as players. But I'll be looking at it like, yeah, y'all just hire me. Like, I come in, write some stuff for you real quick, 30 minutes. I'll hook you up real quick. And I be laughing about it, but I be like, that's how I be feeling. Like, my stuff is real. Like, I don't even pay attention, and I'll watch a game, watch it, be consistent for watching a game for a whole month or something, just watching, and I'll just have better analysis and critiques, and I want to really get into it full time, but it's like, and definitely coaching full time, so I got a lot I want to do, so I'm just keep going. Thank y'all for listening, and watching. And we definitely, like I said, I'm heavy. Y'all watch the beginning of this show. Y'all know what I was speaking on. Y'all know what I'm really my mind be on every day when it comes to family and just being on point with not letting this stuff go over our head. It's a bigger world out there than just the United States. You gotta be more mindful. Ain't nobody bigger than one person. We can't sell out. Don't be a sellout. And just be mindful of what's really going on out there. So thank y'all for listening. I'm gonna end my stream. I appreciate y'all and stay tuned Monday, Tuesday. Y'all see come back.